Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Bihari Jaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskrityam. Narayanam Namaskrityam. Naram Cheva Narottamam. Naram Cheva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tato Shyamudiyayat. Nastubhesya Bhattesya Nityam Bhakta Sevayam Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhakta Naistike. We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, text 44, the last verse of the chapter. Please repeat. Tatra kirtayato vipra Viprasya bhuvite yasa Aham sadhyagamam tatra Nivishtastat anugrahat Aham vasyavishyami Yatadhitam yatamati Tatra kirtayato vipra Viprasya bhuvite yasa Aham sadhyagamam tatra Nivishtastat anugrahat Aham vasyavishyami Yatadhitam yatamati Tatra kirtayato vipra Viprasya bhuvite yasa Aham sadhyagamam tatra Nivishtastat anugrahat Aham vasyavishyami Yatadhitam yatamati
Tatra kirtayato vipra Viprase bhuti tejasa Aham chadaya gam tatra Nivistastat anugrahat Soham vasravaishyami Yathaditam yatamati Tatra kirtayato vipra Viprasher bhuri tejasa Aham chadyagamam tatra Nivishtastat anugrahat Soham vasyavishyami Yathaditam yatamati
Tatra kirtayato vipra Viprasher bhuri tejasa Aham chadyagamam tatra Nivistastat anugrahat Soham vashavayishyami Yatadhitam yatamati Tatra kirtayato vipra Viprasher bhuri tejasa Aham chadyagamam tatra Nivishtastat anugrahat Soham vasravayishyami Yatadhitam yatamati
Word for word translation. Tatra, there. Kirtayata, while reciting. Vipra, O Brahmins, Vipra Srishi, from the great Brahmana Rishis. Bhuri, greatly. Teyasa, powerful. Aham, I. Cha, also. Atyagamam, could understand. Tatra, in that meeting. Nivishtaha, being perfectly attentive. Tat anugrahat, by his mercy. Saha, that very thing. Aham, I. Vaha, unto you. Shravaishyami, shall let you hear. Yata aditam yatamati, as far as my realization. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. O learned Brahmins, when Sukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam there in the presence of Emperor Pariksit, I heard him with rapt attention, and thus by his mercy I learned the Bhagavatam from the great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it from him and as I've realized it. So please repeat. O learned Brahmins, when Sukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam there, in the presence of Emperor Pariksit, I heard him with rapt attention, and thus by his mercy, I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing. As I learned it from him, and as I've realized it. One can certainly see directly the presence of Lord Krishna in the pages of Bhagavatam if one has heard it from a self-realized great soul like Sukadeva Goswami. One cannot, however, learn Bhagavatam from a bogus hired reciter whose aim of life is to earn some money out of such recitation and employ the earning in sexual indulgence. No one can learn Srimad Bhagavatam who is associated with persons engaged in sex life. That is a secret of learning Bhagavatam. No one can learn Bhagavatam from one who interprets the text by his mundane scholarship. One has to learn Bhagavatam from the representative of Sukadeva Goswami and no one else, if one at all wants to see Lord Krishna in the pages. That is the process, and there is no alternative. Sutta Goswami is a bona fide representative of Sukadeva Goswami because he wants to present a message which he received from the great learned Brahman. Sukadeva Goswami presented Bhagavatam as he heard it from his great father. And so also Sutta Goswami is presenting Bhagavatam as he heard it from Sukadeva Goswami. Simply hearing is not all. One must realize the text with proper attention. The word nivishta means that Sutta Goswami drank the juice of Bhagavatam to his ears. That is the real process of receiving Bhagavatam. One should hear with rapt attention from the real person, and then he can at once realize the presence of Lord Krishna in every page. The secret of knowing Bhagavatam is mentioned here. No one can give rapt attention who is not pure in mind. No one can be pure in mind who is not pure in action. No one can be pure in action who is not pure in eating, sleeping, faring, and meeting. But somehow or other, if someone hears with rapt attention from the right person at the very beginning, one can assuredly see Lord Krishna in person in the pages of the Bhagavatam. Read the verse again. Tatra kirtayato viprasherbhuite asam amsadyagamam tatra nivishtatstat anugrahat sohamvam shavaishyami yataditam yatamati. Translation. Learn Brahmins. When Sukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam there in the presence of Emperor Pariksit, I heard with rapt attention, and thus by his mercy I learned the Bhagavatam from that great sage, great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it from him and as I realized it. Om Ajnana Timandasya Janantara Smakina Saksalmitam Vina Tasmai Shigurave Nama Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhuttanishimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamini Namaste Saraswata Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paskatani Dasatani Srila Prabhupada. So I wanted to speak today on the 11th of offense against the chanting of the holy name. We have the 10 offenses, but then he said, yes, even if one has overcome these 10 offenses, that one may not yet get love of God because of inattention. So it is verse today here. Sutta Goswami, he tells the sage of Namisharanya, I will tell you this very same thing as I heard from Sukadeva Goswami. Because when Sukadeva Goswami was speaking to Maharaj Pariksit, Sutta Goswami was one of the sages sitting there and hearing the Bhagavatam. So he's saying, I will repeat the same thing as I heard, and but I heard with rapt attention, and I will explain it to you according to my own realization. So he heard with rapt attention in the word for word. In the word for word translation, we have the word nivista. It's translated here, being perfectly attentive. Perfectly attentive. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives conditions to hear attentively. That, So no one can give rapt attention who is not pure in mind. No one can be pure in mind who is not pure in action. No one can be pure in action who is not pure in his eating, sleeping, faring, mating. So that means to hear with rapt attention, to concentrate your mind. You must follow these 4 regulative principles. That's the first thing. When Srila Prabhupada was traveling to India as a representative of this pharmaceutical company in Calcutta. And then one time he was near to Delhi. This is mentioned in Srila Prabhupada Leela. And he heard his spiritual master was going to give a lecture in Koshi, Koshi is near to Vrindavan, and then we go on Vajmanopaikam, we come always in Koshi. And on that day there was a special darshan somewhere in Vrindavan, in a temple. The darshan of deities with a new outfit. And many devotees, many disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj went for that darshan because Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was there doing Vajmanopaikam disciples. And so Srila Prabhupada went to, didn't go for this darshan, he wanted to hear from his spiritual master. And when he arrived in Koshi, then he was at that time not initiated, he was Bhakta Abhay. So when he arrived, one of the Brahmachari disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj went to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and said, Bhakta Abhay has come. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj replied, yes, I noticed him. He likes to hear. He likes to hear. And but Prabhupada says that also in a lecture. He tells about how he went to hear to his from his spiritual master in Koshi. And he said, my Guru Maharaj spoke very high philosophy. And I could not understand everything. But still I tried to hear with great attention. That because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, yes, I noted Abhay. He likes to hear. Therefore, I will give him initiation. That was one of the qualifications, just hearing that. But this hearing with attention is not an easy thing. Mostly when we start to chant Hare Krishna mantra, the mind wants to do something else. There is a verse in the sixth canto, which we know all, but it starts, the translation starts, to concentrate the mind. One must. That's very applicable here, how to concentrate the mind. It is said, this is because Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj Pariksit. Tapasa Brahmacharya Shamina Shatamina Shatyahina Satyasau Sabhyam Yamina Niyamina. To concentrate the mind, one must observe a life of celibacy and not fall down. That's the first thing. That one is not a life of celibacy. It's not practically not possible. Because I've been analyzing these causes of distraction. That and in the 10 offenses at the end, it speaks about pramada. Mada is mostly madness, madness of the mind, or inattention, pramada. That and in Harinam Chintamani, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions the causes of this pramada, this inattention, and how to overcome it, what's the remedy. But here, first of all, to concentrate the mind, one must observe a life of celibacy and not fall down. One must undergo the austerity of voluntary giving up sense enjoyment. And that's a big one. To wanting to give it up. One must then control the mind and senses. Give charity, giving charity, because we are attached to so many things. If you give them away, it's practicing detachment. That be truthful, clean, and non-violent. Follow the regulated principles and regularly chant the holy name of the Lord. So the chanting is the means to control the mind factory. But we cannot do it properly because we are inattentive. But it's yeah. So this is this verse that we can all see and try to understand. And I'll get this. Here. I will share a PowerPoint. In the PowerPoint, I present the essence of what's mentioned in Harinam Chintamani. It is the offense of inattention. Yeah. Inattention is counted as one of the apparatus. Even if one successfully overcomes all the other offenses and is chanting continuously, love of God may not come. Of course, the other of the 10 offenses, they are in itself also causes of inattention. That so when one overcomes these 10 offenses, then it will be easier to chant with attention. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives 3 reasons for inattention. He says first is indifference or inattention, then there is laziness, then there is distraction, attraction for other objects. Now we will look first in the first type of inattention, indifference. Naturally, the common man, having attachment to material things, will be attracted to those things, even while chanting. His heart will be absorbed in some material object. How can that benefit him? So naturally, what we do during the day, where we absorb our consciousness in, that will cause our attachment. So the only attachment we want is attachment to Krishna. So therefore, everything we do should be related to Krishna. Otherwise, this attachment will come. Should be related directly or indirectly. It should be related to Krishna. We can do our work for Krishna. Remember Krishna. Yat karosi yat asnasi yat yarosi tadasi yat tapasyas kantyam. That goes for mat achpanam. Do everything as an offering to Krishna, whatever you do. So because what it said, his heart will be absorbed in some material object. Why? Because during the day we are absorbed in material objects. Then there's a solution. One should take association of Vaishnava who are properly chanting in some place sheltered from material influence. So what is a place sheltered from material influence? It's a temple. Temple is embassy of Vaikuntha. So at home we turn the temple. We turn our home into a temple by worshipping the deity. One should take association of a Vaishnavas who are properly chanting, who are absorbed in the chanting. Therefore, chanting together is important. My Guru Maharaj Bhakti Charamach used to say that, yes, Maya is very strong. But if you have one bamboo stick, one small stick, you can break easily. But if you have very many sticks together, it's difficult to break. So if we are alone with our mind, Maya will get us. But when we are in association of devotees chanting, we are sheltered. So that shelter, seeking shelter, that's the shelter from the material influence. By chanting in that situation, his absorption in material things will be reduced. So maybe it's still there, but it's reduced. Being inspired by the conduct of the Vaishnavas, he will give up that fault. Gradually, the heart will get attraction to the name and will be anxious for the nectar of the name. Because that's the result. We chant properly and avoiding these offenses, and we get taste. And when you get taste, then you become anxious for the nectar of the name. So another proposal here by Bhaktivinoda Thakur to get rid of this indifference. The advanced devotees have recommended that one live in a place where Krishna had his pastimes, near Tulsi, in the company of Vaishnavas, and greatly increase the period of chanting. But here near Tulsi, in the company of Vaishnavas again, that and greatly increase the period of chanting. So it's good sometimes also to go to Vrindavan or Mayapur and chant there once a year for, say for inspiration, but you can also say for properly chanting. The second problem is laziness. If one chants with a sluggish mind, or after chanting a little, one has to stop before finishing his round, is called laziness. A remedy for laziness. Take the association of Vaishnavas who do not waste time in material activity, but constantly chant and remember the holy name, being absorbed only in the name. Then he will develop a taste to do likewise, and then enthusiasm will come to the lazy mind, and he will overcome the offense of laziness or inertia. Then one will become determined to increase his chanting every day. Yes. I remember when I was first time in the 90s, I became for 2 weeks the secretary of Bhakti Charamach. Was such an intense person. He was very, very busy. All the things that he did during a day, it's amazing. But that's a symptom of one who is situated in Bhava. Not wasting time. That, so therefore, not wasting time means do only what's necessary for your spiritual advancement, what's really essential. That there was a devotee in Australia, and he was a CEO of an international company that with branches in many parts of the world. And the devotees are asking you, how are you managing your spiritual life? How can you do that? And he said, yeah, in the morning, I chant my rounds with great attention. That's my first thing I'm doing. And just by chanting with great attention, I can discriminate during the day what's essential and what's not essential. And I'm only doing what's essential, what's really needed, and what's secondary. And by that, so because the devotees asked, where do you get the time to chant and so on? He said by chanting, I get more time because I'm not wasting my time doing things I should not do. That I found it interesting. That, but anyway, here it's about laziness. That they say yes, if you want to get something done, ask a busy man. He will do. He's not lazy. That, so in the same way, if we want to get rid of this laziness, we should associate with devotees who do not waste time, not wasting time. That, and then distraction. From distraction, all kinds of inattention are born. That, so Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives us 4 reasons for distraction. There are, of course, more reasons for distractions. It's unlimited, the possibility to distract your mind from Krishna in this world. Because this world is meant to distract us from Krishna. That's the material world. Krishna is not in the center. But we have somewhere or other put Krishna again in the center. The fault resides in, this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur who says, first, attraction for women or men in the case of women. Then, attraction for material success or victory. Desire for positions and the cheating propensity. That all forms of material attraction which causes distractions in our mind. The remedy: follow the proper Vaishnava behavior. That on Ekadashis, one should stop thinking of eating and all day and night chant in association of devotees. That may help if you can do it. Not easy. Listening to the scriptures of the Lord in association with the Lord's servants in the Holy Dham. Because if you hear the Bhagavatam every day, the Bhagavatam is concerned with many topics, but it deals certainly with explaining to us the futility of this material world. You have nothing to gain in this material. That soon we have to leave it. That if you have a life full of pleasures, or if you have a life full of misery, mostly it's mixed, it doesn't matter. the person who is so-called happy, materially happy during all his life, and the person who is in distress during his entire life, they get the same thing. They both die. It's all finished. That if we hear the Bhagavatam, we come to the realization from who we are not and who we are. That when I was going to the Bhagavatam, the first time I realized that for materialists, death is reality. Because everything what they think they are is finished at the time of death. But the Bhagavatam explains we are not this body. We are a servant of Krishna. We have an eternal relationship with Krishna. And that's a relationship which cannot be broken at any moment. Death cannot stop this. It's transcending death. That, like I said, so the pure devotee is always in contact with Krishna. Like we were speaking in the car recently, that someone asked Srila Prabhupada, well, a reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, then he asked what was the earliest time in your life you became Krishna conscious? And Prabhupada said, I cannot remember any moment in my life that I was not Krishna conscious. So that's indicative that no, this relationship cannot be broken. It's full of joy, that full of happiness, that we don't need this material body. It's a different life, but for a materialist, spiritual life is like a dream, cannot understand. But for the advanced spiritualist, spiritual life is reality. A material life is a dream. A dream that starts with taking birth and dying. That everything between is a dream. Because when we dream at night, yes, we dream at night, it's all temporary. We wake up and we say, oh, it's just a dream. So one who has realized this real position of the spirit soul, this life is just a dream that begins with birth and with death. It's a dream. Actually, it's a nightmare. That's what it is. And by hearing the Bhagavatam every day, we become detached from all these things. That no interest. We simple living, high thing. The more simple we organize our life, the better. And if we listen to Bhagavatam also without tension, so Sutta Goswami says, I heard with rapt attention. That I traveled with Prahlad Maharaj for many years, and he would give the Bhagavatam and he would read a verse. The devotees would repeat a verse, read a verse at the beginning of the Bhagavatam class, and it would say, close all your books now and tell me what you remember, what's in the verse. And not many could say, they remember the point here, the point there, but not really the verse. Could not remember. And that is Kali Yuga. No memory. Why no memory? Because nobody follows the four regulative principles. Nobody learns how to cultivate this attention. When When the devotee said, Prabhupada, I have a bad memory. I cannot remember anything. Prabhupada said, memory you can cultivate. You can cultivate it by beginning with the desire to remember. You can cultivate that. And then it said here, then surely the bhakti portion of one's mind will increase, and the higher taste will come, and the lower taste will go. And that's the purpose, that when attachment to things in this material world is high, your spiritual life is low. And when our attachment to things in this material world is low, our spiritual life is high. That, of course, there are some who want both at the same time. These are called sahajas. But it's cheap, but it doesn't work. It's not possible. That, yeah. So this is the remedy. Surely we will more and more become attracted to Krishna. So this is finally a general advice. And that's also interesting what Bhaktivinoda Thakur here says. Give up the desire to increase the numbers of rounds for show. One should attempt first to concentrate nicely on what one can manage. So this is an important advice. Try to chant quality rounds. Don't decrease your quantity beyond the 16. You cannot have quality rounds. If you have quality rounds, then you can increase. And so try to concentrate nicely on what I can manage. This concentration is important. And the spiritual master gives us the instruction that to chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra. This remembers me of two devotees. And one devotee said to another devotee, I didn't see you in the Bhagavatam class. You were not in the Bhagavatam class this morning. And the other devotee said, yes, I was sitting there at the back. I was sitting there listening. And the other devotee said, yes, I could see your body was there, but your mind was somewhere else. So we are the consciousness. The consciousness must be there. Otherwise, we are not present. The mind is somewhere else. If we chant rounds, we should be present, conscious of what we are doing. If the mind is doing other things while you are chanting, you are not really chanting your rounds. So you must chant the rounds. The consciousness must be there. Otherwise, we are not really chanting our rounds. Of course, it's not easy to attain this attention. It doesn't depend only on us. What we can do is accepting what's favorable to the chanting and rejecting what's unfavorable for the chanting. And then, but the devotee is always aware, I'm depending on Krishna. He's my maintainer, he's my protector. That is surrender. And therefore, pray to the Lord that one will chant clear, attentive rounds with the mind fixed on Krishna. For one cannot, because for one's own on one's own, one cannot accomplish anything. So one needs the mercy to come to the point of chanting with attention. Because factually, chanting with attention means being in the present. If our mind is contaminated, shoshati kamshati, we will lament for things what went wrong, or we will hanker for things, or plan so many things to do that your mind is busy, is in the future or is in the past, and we lose the present. The present means attention. Spiritual life means being in the present, because the present is the only thing we have. It's the only thing we have. So these are great teachings here that to help us to overcome this inattention. If you're here with attention, really, you can remember. Your remembrance will be better, at least. Here with attention. So that's because that's the process. That we are attentive, we will be remember Krishna. Nectar of Instruction, text 8. Text 8 of Nectar of Instruction is about chanting the nectarian names of the Lord 24 hours a day. And then one must, there are 5 stages described there of smarana, of remembering Krishna. In a lecture, Srila Prabhupada said, sometimes one remembers Krishna, sometimes not. But if we make progress, then the periods that we remember Krishna will become longer, and the periods that we forget Krishna will become shorter. And at a certain moment, the remembrance will become constant. And when we have that in the chanting, this constant remembering of Krishna, we have attained liberation. We are beyond. But then you remember Krishna, and then the meditation on Krishna becomes deeper. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada says in a lecture, then Krishna will start to reveal himself. Then you are beyond Nishta. Ruchi is there. And then you come to Ashakti. Ashakti means Krishna will reveal himself in your heart, in the form you are attracted to. The form you are attracted to is explained also in the Bhagavatam. This verse from Bhakti Yoga Paripa Vicharit Saroya. 3:9:11. Brahma's prayers for creative energy. From Bhakti Yoga Pribhavitarit Sayoya, Asyesh Takshipato Natunata Punsam, Yat Yata Ugaya Vibhavayanti, Tat Papupanayase Satanugrahaya. Oh my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their heart becomes cleansed. By bona fide hearing, with attention, your heart becomes cleansed. And you take seat there. You are so merciful that your devotees, that you manifest yourself in a particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. So you become attracted to a certain form of Krishna. And Krishna will manifest that form in you. That goes for most devotees. the form of Krishna or the form of Gopal, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, so many forms. And you become attracted to that form. The form which is your Ishtadev, you are attracted to. So Krishna reveals himself in that form in the heart. So the super soul in the heart, the four-armed super soul, takes the form of Krishna in the heart. And Krishna reveals his beauty. Then he reveals his sweetness, his beautiful smile. And then you find in your heart, Krishna is in an environment, and you start to see the parrots flying, and the trees, Vrindavan. And then you see Krishna is not alone, he's with his associates. And then you enter the aprakat lila of Krishna in your heart. That unmanifested pastimes in your heart. And then this bhava develops in this love of Krishna. But these higher stages go much quicker than the lower stages of purification of the heart. Purification of the heart goes slow, but once you are liberated and you hear with attention, it's like an iron attracted to a magnet, very strong. That it goes very quick. That will happen. We can increase our attention, and then the attraction will become natural. Yeah. So that's what I could say on pramada, overcoming pramada, inattention while chanting. Any question? Comments? Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for giving wonderful that. Just try to limit a couple of questions. One is little managerial and one is about what we have today. In today's reading, maybe if you can elaborate on the line where it talks about one should purify one's own eating, sleeping, fearing. So if you can elaborate on that point.
Yeah, that means we should live in a mode of goodness. We should cultivate goodness. In the 11th canto, Bhagavad Gita, it is Krishna gives many ways how to cultivate goodness. So you cultivate a certain mode of nature by the scriptures you read. So we should only read Bhagavatam, which is transcendental, and Bhagavad Gita, and the scriptures of the 6 Goswamis, and so on. We should eat in the mode of goodness, only Krishna, Prashant. We should be very clean, externally, internally. Externally, we are by taking a bath, internally, by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, by hearing the Bhagavatam. That's intense, that is cleaning internally. And then yes, that is the way of cultivating the mode of goodness. But going against this is doing sinful activities. Therefore, we must give that up by following the four regulated principles. Because if we do sinful activities, that will contaminate again. We have to stop the contamination. So that's the basic principle. In other words, we should follow the basic principles of religion: cleanliness, austerity, mercy, and truthfulness. The other four pillars is the basis of the. Because if we don't follow the four related principles, we destroy these pillars in our heart. But we have to establish them. That these are the four principles of religion which we need to follow. That so yes, that's something I could say.
Maharaj, today we heard that Prabhupada was given initiation on one main reason because he was attending to giving power. And as you know, ISKCON grew so much. Now we have standards that whoever wants to aspire, first thing they should get ISKCON disabled course, and there should be a letter of recommendation from the local management. I mean, I like the process personally because I understand the importance of the Prabhupada. But I'm asking on behalf of those who are, say, living away from temple and having their old age, 50s, 60s, who can't come, who can't do any service personally in temple. And when they approach local temple or shelter, they're having a hard time to get initiation. So, as an organization that is called, is DBC not considering those scenarios where senior devotees or people who are old, who are not living close to temple, and are they not eligible to get initiation?
Yeah, there's today you can follow the ISKCON disciple course online. Even if you can't go to the temple, you can at least hear it. They may not be able for some certain reason to do tests also, but I think there's the temple president can, or the coach in charge can look at it and then if they heard it at least, they should be given a chance to receive initiation. That yeah, that's. I remember my Guru Maharaj gave initiation to someone in England, and he could not. He had no hearing, and he could not speak. That's quite. And it was difficult for him to chant rounds because when he was chanting, he could not hear it. But he could feel the vibration. But he could only chant very, very slow. One round took him an hour. So he gave him initiation to chant daily 4 rounds. That's an exception. That's really an exception. So but this should be done with due consideration by the authorities. If that's really the case. I'm sure the authorities will look into these things. And there are good reasons. But they should at least hear that they understand what they are doing. Because if there is no proper understanding, then anyway, I will speak on that also this afternoon. We will discuss other of these 10 offenses which help us to overcome them. And there's a few points there that there's just much more to say about this. Our time is up. 1 past 7 already. Thank you very much. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Small discussion. Very cool.